Hello, I'm Jim Tompkins. My career has focused on using thought leadership to disrupt business. This is a video on how you can use innovation and disruption to create competitive advantage. I've been disrupting businesses since the 1970s when we used the science of industrial engineering to disrupt warehousing and network modeling. This has evolved to today where we use the science of supply chain to disrupt business. Interestingly, while we have been disrupting supply chains, the digital imperative has been disrupting businesses. These supply chain and digital disruptions have created the perfect storm for innovation and reinvention in today's business world. The digital imperative is a new era of business. The first era lasted for about 11,000 years, the agricultural era. Then the next for 200 years, the industrial era, and now for the last 20 years, the era of digital disruptions. There are many examples of the digital era. The ones that come most frequently to mind are Amazon, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, and so forth. But since you are watching this video, let me touch on this disruptor, YouTube, created in 2005 to share videos. YouTube was bought by Google in 2006 for $1.65 billion. Back in 2012, YouTube was uploading 60 hours of content per minute. Today, this number is over 500 hours of video per minute. But even more impressive, today more than 1 billion hours of video are watched on YouTube every day. YouTube is an important component of the digital imperative. My traditional vehicles for delivering thought leadership were seminars, books, speeches, and publications. But since 2012, I've relied heavily on video like YouTube. I did my first YouTube video called The Amazon Effect in year 2012. I had over 40,000 YouTube views of The Amazon Effect. I gauge that as a huge success. But in 2014, when I did my YouTube video, The Alibaba Effect, I had 10 times the views, 400,000. My top 5 videos on YouTube have brought me over 1 million views in the last 6 years, more than the number of books, publications, seminars, and speech attendees combined over 40 years. So the digital imperative is evident by your viewing of YouTube right now. The digital imperative is all about new products, new services, and new business models. In this video, I go beyond my favorite subjects of Amazon, Alibaba, Walmart, and the titans of new retail, and beyond the digital imperative to discuss with you how to harness the power of the disruption cycle, how to use innovation and disruption to create competitive advantage. So let me begin by describing the disruption cycle. The disruption cycle begins with innovation. This innovation can flow to entrepreneurship or can be rejected as being too risky, too expensive, bad timing, or too different. Even at entrepreneurship, the innovation can be rejected, which results in these innovations never seeing the light of day. They are buried. These innovations are not like a moonshot that fails to reach the moon, not like a rocket that goes off course, but more often than not, to launch with not enough energy to even clear the launch pad. But the innovations that successfully survive entrepreneurship move on to become disruptors. But even at this point, the too risky, the too expensive, bad timing, and too different hurdles can be too high, and these disruptors are buried. Nevertheless, given the proper boldness, the innovation, the entrepreneurship, the disruptor challenges the status quo, and we reach the starting point of the disruption cycle. The arrows here represent the disruption cycle. Halfway around the cycle is where established firms reside. The progression from disrupting the status quo to becoming the established firm goes through the steps of incubation to validation. The established firms feel little impact from the new evolving status quo firms. The established firms continue to be in denial, to the hiring of the professional management where the disruptor becomes the new established firm. As you might predict, the prior established firm's leadership continue to be in denial and are heard saying, We're going to exceed last year's performance by doing exactly the same thing we've always done, despite the disruption. The prior established firm becomes risk-averse and focuses on protecting the status quo and continue on the same path with the same leadership with as little friction as possible. Many here fall back on the concept of the survival of the fittest. Recall the story of the two guys camping and try to outrun the bear. Both campers do not need to outrun the bear, the story says. You just need to outrun your slower camping buddy. Well, it is true the bear will first eat the slower camper, but this just buys the stronger camper more time. As contrary to the camping story, the disruption bear does not stop running after eating the slower camper. The disruption bear keeps running and will catch the stronger risk-averse camper as well. So the resistance to change will result in you being buried, where you get eaten by the bear. Interestingly, for the new established firm, what now must happen is you must create an innovation to disrupt the new status quo. Given this new innovation, courageous leadership, and new boldness, you can challenge the current status quo and create profitable growth and value. Two observations on the disruption cycle. First, you must keep traveling the cycle. No stopping. If you stop, the bear will get you. Secondly, the rate at which we travel the cycle. In the 1960s, one trip around the cycle took 40 years. In the 1990s, it was 15 years. Today, it is 1 to 2 years. So hang on to your hats. There's so much more I want to share with you about the disruption cycle. I want to tell you about how grasping uncertainty, speed, and reinvention will reduce friction and allow you to travel around the disruption cycle. I want to tell you about the characteristics of an organization that are required to empower your organization's disruption cycle. These are characteristics of resilience, vitality, and focus. I want to share with you examples of some awesome innovations and disruptors. I want to tell you the questions that I use to identify areas in need of innovation and disruption. And I want to share with you some examples of using these questions to create innovations and disruptions. Unfortunately, the clock is ticking on this video. I must finish in the next minute or two. So here's what I've decided to do. I will address the fourth topic above and handle the other four topics via a link I will tell you about at the end of the video. So on the fourth topic I just mentioned, the four questions I use to identify opportunities for innovation and disruption are: 1, what is an important truth that you believe that few people agree with you on? 2, what are new things that your company needs that no one else is providing? 3, what are unique, creative, innovative thoughts that can change the world? 4, what are some business secrets that will significantly alter how business is done? By answering these questions, you will discover opportunities for innovations that can disrupt the status quo and allow your company to gain significant competitive advantage. In conclusion, I encourage you to embrace the digital era. Plan your pursuit of the disruption cycle. Obtain the additional materials listed in the next slide. Become a disruptive innovator and don't feed the bears. Thank you very much for joining me today. Here is the link I promised to a presentation where I share with you the graphic of the disruption cycle and valuable information on these topics. My contact information is on the screen, and I do look forward to hearing from you. All the best on using innovation and disruption, but please don't feed the bears.